Let's talk about a future that might be a lot closer than you think. A world without cash. I mean, as we tap and we swipe and we click our way through just about everything, the very idea of money itself is changing. So, what would a society with no cash really be like? Let's dive in.
Just think about it for a second. Seriously, when was it? Was it for your coffee this morning? Maybe a tip for someone? Or has it been days? Weeks even? For so many of us, just tapping a card or our phone has become total muscle memory. And that brings us right to the big argument for maybe, just maybe, phasing out paper money.
You know, for a lot of economists and people making policy, this whole push to go cashless isn't really about convenience. Nope, it's about cracking down on this huge, untraceable world of the underground economy. Okay, just let this number sink in for a minute. There is $1.7 trillion in physical U.S. cash floating around the world right now. That is an absolutely staggering amount of untraceable money. So the real questions are, where is it all, and what is it really being used for?
Well, this number gives us a massive clue. The IRS figures that almost $500 billion in taxes just disappears every single year. And a huge reason for that is because of off-the-books cash payments that leave absolutely no trail. Think about that. That's a huge hit to public funding, year after year after year.
So, our main guide for this is Kenneth Rogoff. He's a Harvard professor. He used to be the chief economist for the International Monetary Fund. I mean, the guy knows his stuff, and he spent decades looking into paper money. And even he was just stunned by how much cash, especially big bills like hundreds, is just out there completely unaccounted for.
And according to Rogoff, a huge portion of that cash is what fuels the entire global underground economy. And why? Well, because it's the perfect tool for crime. It's anonymous, it's untraceable, and it leaves zero digital footprint. That makes it the currency of choice for everything from simple tax dodging all the way to some of the darkest criminal enterprises on the planet. Making that money harder to use could seriously disrupt those networks.
But, of course, it's not that simple. I mean, it never is, right? Getting rid of cash would absolutely come with a cost. And it's a cost that really gets at some of our most basic values, things like privacy and stability.
So here it is. This is the heart of the whole debate. On one hand, less cash could mean less crime, more tax money for things we all use. But on the other hand, every single thing you buy gets recorded, creating this permanent digital trail of your life. Plus, you have to think about the millions of people who don't have bank accounts. Cash is their lifeline. And what about an emergency? You know, a blackout, a natural disaster, a bank failure. Physical cash is a safety net that digital systems just can't always guarantee.
And this right here really shows us how we're already living. I mean, look at this. For most bigger, totally legal purchases, anything over $50, we're already going digital. Debit, credit, transfers. Cash comes in way down at number 5. It's mostly for small, everyday things, and like we've been talking about, for all those under-the-table deals.
Okay, so if we want the privacy that cash gives us, but without the actual paper, could something like cryptocurrency be the answer? Is that the solution?
So for anyone who's not totally deep in the crypto world, here's the basic idea. Cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, are basically digital money. And their big selling point is privacy, because they're not controlled by a central authority like a government or a big bank. So, in theory, they could be the perfect digital stand-in for a $100 bill, giving us privacy in this digital age. But in practice, crypto comes with its own set of massive headaches. Because it's so decentralized, it's a nightmare to regulate. Its value can shoot to the moon one day and then completely crash the next, which makes it a super risky way to store your money. For a lot of people, it's just way more volatile and less stable than good old-fashioned cash.
So where does that leave us? If a totally cashless world has some serious privacy issues, and crypto isn't quite the perfect fix, what does the future of money actually look like? Well, the answer seems to be finding a middle ground.
And what's really interesting is that even Kenneth Rogoff, the expert who wants to get rid of the big bills, says we shouldn't get rid of cash entirely. He actually believes we'll always need it for personal privacy, for emergencies, and just to keep the whole financial system stable and strong. And that brings us to what's probably the real destination here. We're not really heading for a world with no cash. We're heading for a world with less cash. A future where maybe the big $100 bills are phased out to fight crime, but smaller bills stick around for everyday use, to protect our privacy and to be a reliable backup for when we really need it. So as we wrap this up, we're left with a really big question. And it's not just for economists, it's for you. It's for all of us. In our increasingly digital world, where do you draw the line? At the end of the day, it's a trade-off, right? Between security and privacy, between convenience and control. And your answer, and the choices you make every day, that's what's going to help shape the future of money.